Europe is now looking at three new laws that might actually change how we look at market regulations and how we look at the internet. It may sound like a very sound idea that we should have regulation that controls how platforms or online services or data sharing can happen online. That's absolutely fine, and that's probably true. But one of the new features of this regulation is that we are now trying to preempt market failures before they happen. The way that free economies regulate competition and economy is usually through what we call the ex post, meaning that when there is a market failure, the regulator steps in and remedy the situation and ask a dominant company to stop its behavior. And this is the common practice of all industries across the world, at least in the West. And now we are looking at specific regulations that is going to address and perhaps try to prevent how these situations happen in the first place. That may sound like not such a controversial change, but it is. First of all, Europe doesn't do this kind of predictive market failure addressing. This is something completely new. And these kind of regulations tend to come at a very, very high cost, possibly north of 100 billion euros per year for Europe, because digital is such an important element of our economy. They tend to have a very dampening effect on productivity and innovation and entrepreneurship. If governments tell you already in advance what you can do and what you can't do and how big you're allowed to be, of course, that is going to have a very detrimental effect on the economy. The second aspect of this, I think, which is quite important, is that this only applies to a certain group of companies. For example, in the Digital Market Act, which is one of the three laws, you are looking at a provision that says that you only need to follow these rules if you operate in 3 member states. What does that actually mean? It means that the EU think that it's perfectly fine to be large, dominant, and abuse your customers as long as you stay in Poland. But if you're a small player that actually operates across 3 markets, meaning if you're taking advantage that the EU is supposed to give you, you're being punished.